Is the Venezuelan Maduro regime about to fall? There has been widespread election fraud. The result was not accepted by the opposition, nor was it accepted by most Latin American countries, let alone the Western world. Right now, there are riots, there's unrest in Venezuela, and we'll talk about whether the Maduro regime will fall. Over the past 30 or so hours, I spent all the time looking into original sources from Venezuela. I've contacted friends in the country. I've contacted exile Venezuelans to give me additional informations and to point me towards additional sources on Telegram, on Twitter, on Instagram. I try to grab as much information as there is to find as of right now. And unlike my videos about Russia, this is a language I actually speak, so I was able to see the original sources and judge it. So let's dive into the video about the current state of affairs in Venezuela. Now, in the background, I'm going to play a video that shows the public reading of the election result and look into the faces of those that watched, how they take the results while I go into the script. Now, Maduro is claiming that he won the election by 51%, so barely, but he did. But the previous surveys before the election were showing a clear and decisive advantage of the opposition that was bound to win this election. The opposition itself is saying that they won the election with 73.2%. Obviously, I have no way of seeing how this number is being created, how they reach that number, but this is what the opposition is saying. And in fact, there were numerous reports of the National Guard, of the military, and of the Collectivos, which are like armed thugs for the government, that they prevented people from voting, that they prevented people from seeing the counting of the votes. So basically clearly showing the intent to do voter fraud. And we have the government not allowing foreign observers. For instance, a previous president of Panama was not allowed into the country. She wanted to go to Venezuela with the intent to observe the election. We see here that the people voice their displeasure, and since then it has only grown. There have also been videos like this. This is street sweepers that claim that they found an urn which was still sealed with the election papers in it. Now, I don't see an urn here. I have no idea where it comes from, but we see what seems to actually be paperwork from the election, including signatures on the back where the responsible persons have signed it with the typical thumbprint, which is in this part of the world part of the signature in something that is important enough. So while the election was highly likely fraudulent, the government has now started to crack down and frighten the public. We have a video here of the so-called collectivos. Collectivos are thugs that are basically criminals that have free reign. They have been given guns by the government after the government disarmed the population. Legal gun ownership was made close to impossible, and the guns were given. As you can see, those are guys in civilian clothing next to policemen, and they completely ignore them while they shoot like men. Those are the so-called collectivos, armed thugs that support the government, and the police lets them do whatever they want, and often enough they cooperate, they work together to frighten, to suppress the opposition, and we see them here in action doing what they usually like to do. Since then, the collectivos have done a lot of suppression and a lot of additional work. We see them here posing with their weapons and saying their loyalty towards Maduro, expressing it clearly here, giving with the intent to frighten the people. And we see what the collectivos, for instance, do here. This is another fresh video where you see a collectivo pointing a gun at drivers simply because he planned to go his way and he needed to slow down. So I guess that one wanted to turn right. So the way to do that is obviously to point your gun at people. This is the state of the rule of law in Venezuela currently. They are being used to frighten opposition people, and that this has led now to a weird alliance, because right now several criminal gangs have joined ranks with the opposition. Tren del Llano is a criminal gang of the center of the country that is supposed to be 700 men strong. They initially published a video where they threatened the public forces, police and military, to stay in their barracks and leave the people alone. If not, they would start measures. Later, they published a video showing them supposedly in a firefight, even though you don't see much, where they supposedly attacked a police station. Later, they are in front of the police station, and the person filming is demanding from the policemen to hand over their radios and basically threatening them. There are other videos too where armed men are being cheered by the public, supposedly other criminal gangs starting to fight the Collectivos, even though so far the numbers of videos that indicate firefights are extremely limited. So as of now, it has not fully escalated yet. The National Guard is also on the streets, and we can see them here. Again, a sign of the rule of law. If you see this guy here pointing his gun, and then you see him hammering it into a car, you hear them shooting as well in various directions. We don't know in what they're doing, what they're shooting at, but you saw him hitting the car here. And let's zoom a little forward. We see him walking back here again, and apparently he enjoys the impunity he has. He enjoys the power he has. No, I think that was the guy. He enjoys it, and you can see him just going on and damaging other cars, because why the hell not? I guess he can. So he hits the first car and he goes to the next car, and you can clearly see those are civilian cars that are covered as best as they can with cardboard to protect the cars from potential riots. But this shows the respect of the public by the government forces. The events are continuing here, and we have a video of soldiers showing solidarity with the demonstrators. The people are shouting "Libertad, Libertad," so basically freedom, freedom, and we clearly see soldiers shaking hands, so showing solidarity. But this, unfortunately, is one of only 2 videos I found of this case. The other one was showing policemen and women taking off their uniform jackets, clearly showing that they take solidarity with the opposition. Those are the only 2 videos. I've seen 3 more videos where policemen are disarmed by the public, but there they don't join ranks. And the best of the rest is policemen and the military watching the opposition demonstrating, watching them tear down boards with Maduro on it, election papers, placards, I think is the name, what you put on the walls, so basically to show their disdain towards Maduro. But this is the best that they can hope for. The solidarity by the military is punctual, is at some point. It's located at very specific places. It is definitely not widespread at this point, and it shows that a massive solidarity from the armed forces with the opposition is not visible. There's also events which are kind of humorous. This is being said that this is a street vendor selling 4 stones for the price of $1 to the public, clearly showing the return of capitalism into socialist Venezuela, as he has identified a demand by the public that he wants to satisfy by selling stones to throw in a way. But in more serious terms, the head of the military, the 4-star general, and the Minister of Defense, he is talking about a military coup that is being done standing in front of lots of other generals, 3-star generals, showing clearly that the top brass of the military is on the side of the government, that the military might take its responsibility, as for instance Javier Milei was saying that the military should do its duty towards the public. This cannot be expected. The military will not side, at least the top brass of the military will not side with the opposition. As of now, when we see the numbers from yesterday and today, the numbers were actually somewhat disappointing initially. You would expect a bigger crowd walking down here in the current event, even though fresh videos have been somewhat different. By now, the opposition figures have also been in Caracas and held a rally where they showed themselves in the public. Now you can see we have much more dense crowds here in various videos, but we also have to see so far, at least when I finished the research for this episode, there was not the opposition was not saying let's tear down the government. They were demanding, they were asking for peaceful protests. They weren't asking for a general strike. They were saying we need to voice that we won the election. We need to be peaceful, all of this. So as of now, the opposition does not try to tear down Maduro by force. So far, it has not been. So far, they haven't asked everyone to block everything. But yesterday, there were videos of civilians hammering their cooking pots. And this is something that is common in Latin America. I've had that here in Panama as well, in the city, where when the people were upset with government decisions, they would go to their windows, to their balconies at night and hammer on cooking pots with their spoons to make noise. And if a whole city does that, that is quite impressive, a quite impressive acoustic event. So they were doing this to show their disdain, which would clearly indicate that the majority is against that, like the opposition did it as well. Venezuela itself is getting more isolated. Several states in Latin America, Venezuela has cut its diplomatic relationship with several states in Latin America that have not acknowledged the election result. And the embassy of Argentina was cut off from the electricity grid because 5 opposition figures have found refuge in there, and there are already widespread videos of the arrest of opposition figures. Some claims are that witnesses from the election campaign, from the voting places, are being arrested and so on. So the repression is starting as of now, and the Argentinian embassy was sheltering 5 of them. Now the electricity is turned off. The latest number I had was that 4 people died. That was confirmed. There was also the one dead National Guard man. I'm not sure whether that is one of the 4 dead, so whether we are talking about 4 or 5 dead people, but to the extent of it, what we would expect, this is at best the very start of it. So far, violence is not widespread. There are some videos that indicate that there might have been minor firefight, but as of now, it does not seem that either side wants to kill as many of the other side as possible. So far, it's mostly threatening, and the killed persons seem to be, at least in part, more accident than intentional killing of somebody, even though there are horrific videos of people being attacked by 5 to 10 Collectivos or National Guard men and being stumped and being hammered upon. So violence is widespread, but so far, luckily at least, the death number is still fairly low. Venezuela is getting increasingly isolated, but China and Russia have already accepted the election result. So its biggest foreign backers are standing by its side. There are rumors that right now troops from Cuba are being flown in. It was already in 2017 the rumor that Cuban soldiers helped put down the rioting, as they have obviously a national interest, the Cubans, to keep another socialist government, another socialist dictatorship in power, and as an ally here. As of now, I do not have proof, but in Venezuela, the big rumor is that among the National Guard, there are Cuban soldiers wearing that uniform and doing the dirty work as well, even though, as I said, right now there's no proof. When it comes to foreign interference, it seems highly unlikely, because Brazil and Colombia would be the most important nations for that, as both of them share a national border. They could close the borders, they could do embargoes together with the United States or something, but we have to see that Brazil and Colombia are ruled by people who are ideological allies of Maduro, so there cannot be expected any serious opposition from those two, let alone a military intervention, and the US probably don't have the stomach for that right now either, and the times where this was a possibility seems to be over, at least in the current situation. You might remember that Bolsonaro, the previous Brazilian president, last time he put it up for discussion that there could be an international intervention in Venezuela. Right now it seems to be out of the question. So without foreign intervention, it seems that the only chance for the Venezuelans to free themselves will be by themselves. And as of now, we're talking about Panama 1430. as of local time, I do not see anything close to a coup d'état, to a revolution, to any change, any violent change in government. But this can obviously change really quickly. As I said, the leadership of the opposition so far has not asked for it. They have not asked the people to change the government by force, and this can obviously change by the minute, and there could be a prominent person being killed, being publicly tortured or anything like this that makes the public so angry that they take matters into their own hand. The government takes it serious. Troops are being mobilized. National Guard, the Collectivos are threatening and are round and about. The military is in movement, and there are reports that snipers have taken place on the Palacio Miraflores, so to protect the government, with, if necessary, with lethal force. But as of now, we should not expect a quick change in government. As said, this might change very quickly, though. That was it, what I have for now. I hope you found that interesting. If so, then please give it a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Leave a comment. What do you think about the current situation? And depending on the response by the audience, I'll do more about this in the future. But that's it from me for now. If you're new here, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. Tomorrow we'll have the next situation report about the war in Ukraine. And this channel is only possible because of the support of viewers like you. If you like to support the channel, you can do so by the means in the description. But that's it from me for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back.